All right.
For all of you who have no idea who Chris Thompson is, he is the man behind the Mike Mindell Hypnosis Academy. He's also the man behind Hypnosis.com. This guy knows marketing and social media stuff, like how to run ads, how to do all of it. Today, he's going to bring you the secret on how you guys can get more customers, more clients. Today, I bring you the man, the myth, the legend, Chris Thompson.
All right. Amazing. Thank you. I do know a few things about hypnosis as well. Been in this space for a little while, almost 30 years. And today I want to talk to you all about getting clients. Now, tomorrow I will be doing another one. I think it's at 4:30 on adding Ericksonian language to your work. So if you want to come and see that one, it's in a different room where I'll actually have slides. Speaking of slides, and welcome and thank you all for attending. I made slides for this until Scott Sandlin kindly informed me, 25-minute presentations? Buddy, you don't get slides for that. There's no time. So I have them. We'll add them into the video that we're recording. And if you scan my shirt or Timothy has a matching shirt, you can sign up and I'll make the recording available to you. If you're in the Mike Mindell Hypnosis Academy, you won't need to do that because we'll already send that out. I just want to we have like 20 minutes kind of once all the informalities stuff is gone through to talk about getting clients. And so you'll see me referring to this. I'll work that way into the presentation. Let's get through what I want to talk about. First of all, when it comes to marketing, how many of you would agree marketing is not hypnosis? We're hypnotists. And we understand that marketing is a different skill set, isn't it? Makes sense, right? Of course. However, and if you had my slides, you'd be laughing. Most hypnotists are great, of course, at helping people. They're not good, typically, marketers or website builders or copy designers or coders or all those other things that go with marketing. But you know what? Marketing is hypnosis. It is in so many ways. Now, what are those ways? Well, we need rapport. If we're going to establish rapport with our clients to help them, we need to do the same thing in marketing, don't we? Makes sense. What else do we need to do? Well, we need to get agreement and compliance. We need to do that as hypnotists, and we need to do that as marketers, which will bring me to the fourth point I'll bring up in a moment. Third point is we do evoke emotions and we offer suggestions, both to our hypnosis clients and in marketing, don't we? We need to bring emotions so that we can then offer suggestions when we get that critical faculty offline. And that's what marketing does. That's what hypnosis does. And of course, the fourth point that I said I would bring up is scripts are actually okay here, right? Because when you're marketing, you're not doing individual conversations most of the time. You're starting with some sort of website or video or something that you have planned in advance. So as much as when we talk about hypnosis training, we don't want you reading scripts at your clients because there's a psychodynamic loop. We want you interacting with a person. In marketing, it's going to start that way until you get to that human interaction. I don't know why I'm making that old school telephone gesture because no one does that anymore. But once you're actually having a conversation with a human, then you throw away the scripts and deal with humans. But your marketing message should be about getting to that human interaction. Now let's continue because I want to make sure my aim in this presentation is to give you the following. I want to give you a blueprint for how to design any customer value journey for essentially any style of business. I'll give you lots of examples in between. I want to explain the steps on how these steps interconnect with each other. I want to help you identify your biggest weakness because everyone in this room will have something going on in their business, and one of those things, maybe two of those things, are going to be holes in their metaphorical ship. And you've got to fix the hole before you continue on and grow and sail on that epic journey that you're going on. So there's your metaphor. And I want to help you, of course, understand how you can get help if you need to do that sort of thing. And finally, ultimately, make sure you understand it's up to you to actually do this stuff. The knowledge is useless without putting it into action of some sort. Sound fair? Okay, awesome. Fantastic. So continuing on the way, I had a slide here which was going to be really funny. I just want to credit my friend Ryan Deiss from digitalmarketer.com. He's the founder and CEO of the company. And this entire model I learned from him. We stand on the shoulders of giants. We always credit the people that we learn from. And practically everything I'm going to be teaching you, I learned from Mr. Ryan Deiss, who's a fantastic guy. So before we begin with the blueprint, We have to understand the purpose behind the blueprint. A customer value journey, a journey that a customer goes on, it's very different than not going on a journey. We very infrequently arrive at the destination without the journey along the way. Give you an example. Imagine I'm a younger man, and I'm on a date with a woman the very first time. She's cute. I'm thinking of my own wife, but back then, imagine I took her on her first date, and we sat down, and we ordered our coffees, and I said to her, honey, what are we going to name our children? That'd be creepy, wouldn't it? Could you imagine that happening? Of course not. That's ridiculous. You have to go through a journey before you get there. Similarly, how many of you have been at maybe networking events, just to take it to a total opposite end of the, not romantic, now let's think just interpersonal business skills. How many of you have been at some sort of networking event or something where you're having a conversation with a bunch of people and one guy just walks up and is essentially the equivalent of, buy my stuff. This is what I do, buy my stuff. And anybody been in a situation like that? Yeah, a few hands going up. It seems sleazy, it seems unnatural, it doesn't seem interesting. No one wants to do anything with someone that hasn't built rapport where you know and like and trust that audience. So that's what the customer journey is really all about. Those are the two examples I wanted to give you. So every single relationship that you have in your life had to follow a journey, right? Think about a workplace relationship, how you interact with your boss or your colleagues. It's very different than, say, a friendship relationship. You become friends with someone, you become even better friends, and at some point there is a maturity where what's the end game for that friend? We're best friends, like Timothy and Mike and I and Michael C. Anthony. We hang out, we know each other in a certain way. Those journeys all happen. Another example might be a romantic relationship, like I just said, right? That you don't start out with what are we gonna name our kids? That's just weird and creepy. So it goes through a process, and the exact same thing is true of your customers. Does that make sense so far? Your customer's going to go through a journey, getting a thumbs up from Mike. So we're gonna cover the customer value journey. Where are we on time right now?
You are 7:30 in.
Perfect, okay. So we're gonna talk about a customer value journey, which I've written here. I thought I would get slides, but this is the only one you actually need. The customer value journey is 8 actual steps. We're gonna go through and cover, I'll mention them all, but we're only gonna cover 6 of them briefly here, not 4, 6 of them briefly here today. And then I'll leave you with some thoughts on how you can get to the next stage. Now, by the way, like I said, we're recording this, so you don't have to worry about taking notes or anything like that, and I'll make sure that you all have access to the notes. We're gonna cover the 6 steps. Now, I'm gonna take you through it really quickly. When you're doing a customer journey, you're taking someone through essentially this process. They find out you exist. That's called awareness. They don't know you exist. They can't buy from you. You can have the most beautiful store in the middle of a desert that no one's go to. Oh, Vegas. And no one will buy. If they don't know you exist, they can't buy, right? There you go. Then they have to engage with your content in some way, your message in some way. So that, thinking about that first date, you become aware, that first smile. Then the conversation, okay, that's the engagement in the process. Subscription, I just wrote SUB, that means subscription. This is sharing information with each other so that you have permission to follow up. Hey, can I get your number? I'd love to take you out for a coffee sometime. That would be the equivalent. Or, hey, you know what? We should have a conversation. It might make sense for us to partner up in some way on a business that we're working on. Can I call you? Can I engage with you in a Zoom conversation, whatever? So this is permission to follow up. Next, we have what's called the conversion phase. This used to be thought of as a money transaction. It could be a small money transaction, like $1, $7, something tiny. But nowadays, people think of it as a conversion is a micro commitment. And I'll get more into this in a moment. Micro commitment could also be an investment of time. Newsflash, you all made a micro commitment to show up here. So thank you for that. The next step is the excitement phase. This is where you give people some sort of sense of wonder and realization so that they have an aha moment and go, I need the thing you're selling. And this ascension phase is the thing that you're actually selling, which is, by the way, why we're going to design this backwards for the remainder of this presentation. 10 minutes left?
No, you got 10 minutes right now.
I'm at 10. Fantastic. That's plenty of time. So, and then finally, once you have ascended the person, in other words, they bought the main thing that you want to sell them, You want to go through steps 7 and 8, which are create advocacy, could be testimonials, and perhaps promotion, where maybe they're your affiliate. These don't apply to everyone. Well, this one probably will. We're not going to talk about these two because we just don't have enough time. But these are where people start to go, oh yeah, that Chris Thompson guy. Yeah, he's really smart and smells good too. No one says that, I don't think, about me. But that's what we're going to be talking about today. So before we even get into this, though, you have to answer the question, what do you do? Who is your ideal customer? Who do you serve? You have to know your niche. If you don't know what your niche market is, there isn't much point in designing the ideal marketing pathway for the customer that you haven't even defined yet. Does that make sense to everybody? Obviously, right? So once you understand who you're serving, who is your ideal customer, what is their problem, how can you help them solve it, and most importantly, if you want to write anything down, what is their happily ever after? What is their fairy tale they lived happily ever after because they got some transformation? What is the transformation that you sell to who? If you've got that figured out, put your hand up if you already know that. Not a lot of hands. Okay, gotta figure this out first because everything else I'm about to share with you is useless without that. So it sounds like we have our work cut out for us already. Figure out what that happily ever after that you create for who, what's their problem, how do you solve it, what's their happily ever after. Once you know that, then you can begin thinking about all of this stuff. So we have our CVJ. We're gonna design it backwards, which means we're gonna start with the ascend phase. You're going to understand the method to the madness here and why we're going backwards. I learned this again from my friend Ryan Dice. When he taught it to me, I was like, how come I never knew that I should design it backwards? That makes so much sense. Makes things way easier. And put your hand up if you think easier would be better for you at this point. Yes. All right. So I'm going to read these questions. These were going to be on my slides. Again, I'll make sure this is in the video. When you get to this stage, you're answering the following questions. So think about this question and just write down whatever is useful to you. Make a note because I want you to get something actionable out of this 25 minutes. So, Ascension, what is my core flagship offer and how will I continue to deliver value after the first sale is made? So can you answer that question? What is your core offer, your flagship offer to your customers? If you don't know that, that's a major thing to solve, right? Because that's where you make money. And how are you going to deliver value after you make the sale? The reason for that is obviously if you can deliver value after you've made the sale, you're going to have more people going, can I give you a testimonial? Can I tell other people about you? Of course you can. Thank you so much, right? That's your answer. So what is your core offer? Now, I took my name badge off so you can see the logo. Pick those. What are we? Well, we're software services and training. It's a related business to Mike Mandel Hypnosis. I'll tell you about it briefly at the end. But we want to send people into a monthly subscription for software and services that are going to rock your business world. So we need people to know about that, and that's our core offer. We've defined it. It's very clear. If you haven't defined it in your business, like put your hand up if you're willing to say, don't know what that is yet. Don't know what my core offer is. Okay, a lot of hands. Mike Mandel. There we go. If your hand is up there, figure that out. You have to define what is the ultimate core thing you're selling to your market before you start selling it, or you don't have anything to sell. Because you have to design your journey backwards around that. Is that making sense for everybody? All right, let's look through a couple of examples, what would apply in this space. One-on-one coaching. How many of you do one-on-one coaching? Bet you a bunch of you. Group coaching. Who does group coaching in this? Awesome, fantastic. Who teaches classes? Which could be different than coaching, but we teach classes, right? Awesome. What about digital training? Who sells courses? Or wants to sell courses? Put your hand up if you want to sell courses. Awesome, our platform can handle that. And finally, what about shows and keynotes, things like that? Maybe being paid to actually show up at a live event and teach. Probably not as many people in the room, but that's, yeah, Richard, like stage hypnosis. That's your core offer, doing shows. That's it, that is a core offer. When you know that, you're good to go. All right, so let's keep going. We have 10 minutes left. Excitement. How do you excite people? The whole point of this is once you know what to sell, then you can ask yourself the question, here's your question for this phase, what must be present? What must the prospect experience or believe to be true to make the next step a foregone conclusion? So what must your prospect be excited about, be believed to be true, so that they say, duh, I want your stuff, right? Not the buy my stuff, but excite them so that they want to buy your stuff. So if you don't know what this is, you got to define that first. But if you do know what this is, how many of you know for sure what your clear aha moment is that the customer experiences so that the next step is a foregone conclusion? If you can put your hand up and legitimately say, I know that, okay, awesome. Awesome. Okay, keep working on that. And a couple of examples would be, let's say you're a hypnotherapist, okay? You could ask some killer questions during that free consult that open up the client's mind. You could be using some NLP or hypnosis skills during an intake session. You could be teaching something brand new that they've never seen before and go, oh my goodness. And hopefully you're having that experience here going, no one's ever taught me this. No one ever explained the customer journey. That's what I want you to get out of this presentation is the excite phase for Pythos would be, oh my goodness, I didn't even know what I was supposed to be building. I didn't know the blueprint existed. Testimonials, case studies, and of course, communicating like epic value. If you have a killer offer, they're gonna be excited by that. So those are all the things that I wanted to give you some examples on. Now, okay, let's keep going. Conversion phase, backing up from there. How do you get people so that you can excite them? You need to get a micro commitment. The question here is, how do I get prospects to make a micro commitment that gives me an opportunity to deliver that aha moment? You see how this all builds up now? How can you get them to give you a micro commitment that allows you a chance to excite them? Well, there's a couple of different ways you can do this. Many ways. I'll give you a few real live examples. How many people recently participated in Jason Linnett's $27 5-day challenge? Probably a few people in this room. Okay, at least one. Good. Cheap product, awesome training for 5 days that probably leads to, maybe I want his more expensive training. Micro commitment was $27. Simple, right? We have a hypnotherapy friend of ours, charges $25 for the consult. That's credit towards an actual training, or not training, session if you do hire him to be your trainer. But he's very busy. He doesn't want to do free consults. So if you're willing to put $25 down, have you made a micro commitment to that process? Yes, you have. So these are dollar amounts, right? What about attending something free, like showing up to a free class? You made a micro commitment by showing up. I mentioned this earlier in the room, right? And then finally, somebody books a free consult with you, but they show up, not just booking it, showing up. That's a micro commitment. Wouldn't you agree? So that's what you're looking for. So as I'm mentioning these examples, what I want you to be doing is thinking, okay, which one of these am I missing? Which one of these do I have nailed? Work on your weaknesses. And you're in this seat right now because you made that micro commitment. Continuing on, subscription phase. So we haven't got them to micro commit yet, but we want to get their contact information. We want to get that, hey, can I call you sometime? That kind of thing, right? So the question here is, what valuable chunk of content do we offer, or do you offer, in exchange for contact information and permission to follow up? And again, I'll put these all in the slides. They'll be in the professionally produced video, and we'll get that to you. So what is the chunk? What information can you share that you can follow up with them later in exchange for that ability to follow up? Does that make sense to everyone? And a few examples that I just wrote down here. You could have your freebie, like the anti-anxiety toolbox that you download from my website. Give me your name and email. Boom, we've got that. Schedule your free consult with me for if you're doing one-on-one stuff, right? Claim your buyer's guide. How many people have maybe been into like digital photography or something and, hey, download the buyer's guide for 2023 on the best stuff? Well, you usually opt in for that. Access to a free masterclass, opt-in gate, put your name and email in here and I'll give you the recording from this presentation or this 1 hour session, whatever it is that you're offering. Give them something that's valuable, not some garbage, something they actually would care about, that they'd be willing to exchange information. And well, for Pythos, we didn't do this today, right? We didn't get subscription in advance. It's a little bit backwards. It's a model that's never perfect. But if I get you scanning that at the end, then we've completed the subscription phase. No problem. We're going to finish on time. Engagement is your next step. To get to your engagement step, guess what we got to do? We got to leverage content. So the question to ask is, how do we leverage content and follow-up marketing to engage new and re-engage old prospects? Now, keep in mind, most people in this room, even if you go, oh my goodness, let's say later I explain what Pythos is and you go, that's amazing, I want it. Most of you still won't buy it today. my job will be to re-engage with you. So if I got that subscription information, if you don't make it the way through this funnel, I can still come back to you and help you out and re-engage you. That's where most people are falling down. You get a lead, you deliver some emails, and then you never talk to them again. Make sure you don't have that problem. So that's what engagement is. And then examples, obviously watching videos, blog posts, listening to podcasts, interacting with you, commenting on posts, emailing you, that kind of stuff. And in this session, hopefully what I've accomplished is the engagement phase. You're all engaged, I hope. We've got the conversion phase done because you made a micro commitment to sit in here, and the excitement phase. Hopefully we get you excited about, oh, I just learned something new, this whole model, that's something new. That would be a live example of me in this room today. So the final awareness, we've gone all the way backwards, engage. How do you get people to engage with you? Well, they have to know you exist first. So the engagement, the awareness question, I should say, is how does your ideal customer even find out that you exist? Because they may not know about you, right? Now, usually this involves some sort of getting a message out there. You can pay and go to the traffic store, as Ryan Dice likes to call it, which is paid advertising, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, all that stuff. Or you can do a lot of organic stuff, like getting on other people's stages, being a guest on someone else's podcast, showing up at a conference. This is not our conference. I'm on Scott Sandlin and Stephanie Skiba's stage right now, right? To help generate more awareness, I'm on a agenda. How did you get here today? You either got here because somebody told you, by the way, that's the advocate, that Chris Thompson guy smells really good, yeah. Or you saw it on the agenda and you decided to come out here today. So that's what it's all about. All right, so let's get to the very end here. Your next steps. How much do I have? 2 minutes, probably? Awesome, amazing. Map out where you are right now. That's what I want you to do. Figure out, where are you? Just document what you actually have, not what you want to have, not your dream, what you actually have. Because when you do that, you'll look at it and go, oh, I totally don't even have this step, or I totally don't even have enough of this. Something will jump out at you and you'll mark that down as your ambition to fix it. Okay, does that make sense? Next thing, I already said, find out what your biggest holes are and fix them. So step 1, map out what you have now. Step 2, where are your biggest holes? Your intuition is going to tell you. You're not going to have to do deep analysis on this. Step 3, find out how you're going to plug your holes. You're going to probably want to get help along the way. So you're going to have to hire people. You're not going to be the expert in everything. You might want to hire people for web design, copy, graphics, editing, and all the techie stuff that exists out there. Don't be the expert in everything yourself, but do remember what I said at the beginning. Hypnosis is not marketing, but it actually is marketing, right? They're the same in a lot of ways. You're going to probably need some tools. You could be looking at things like WordPress and Kajabi and MailChimp and ActiveCampaign, ClickFunnels, Calendly. How many of you have heard of those tools? Or you could look at Hypnosis, which has everything. So how would it be if you could do websites, funnels, courses, memberships, communities, order forms and payments, SMS and email automation, CRM, unified inbox, website chat, social media, forms, surveys, calendars, courses, all for $99 a month. That's what we do. We will build your first web page of your brand new website for you for free if you sign up with us. No pitch, you can talk to me in the hallway. That's what I wanted to talk to you in 25 minutes. Customer value journey. Architect what you want to build ahead of time so that you don't build some weird thing that doesn't actually serve you. Figure out where your weaknesses are. Work on those first. Don't be the expert in everything. Just know enough to talk about it. And you can scan me or Timothy afterwards. Thanks again and good night.